The core of this fire burns at nearly 1,000 degrees, melting most everything inside. But it's not accidental. It's arson.
The crime of arson is not only devastating to property, but it's also devastating to lives. The arsonist believes that that if they burn everything, that they've shut down the trail, and we're here to say that's not true. We're going to find you.
Red, reposition. Go ahead. Don't get hurt.
What you're watching is no ordinary fire. It's a test fire set by the State Fire Marshal's office.
Yeah, go ahead and let her burn for a minute.
Created to look like real rooms.
Grab that stick.
Measured and monitored by investigators.
I'm gonna zero it out there.
And like any fire, crews are quick to put out the flames. But what happens next is slow.
And this right here is something important.
Methodical.
We're going to start digging out right around here.
And deliberate.
Each little piece like that is a clue.
The State Fire Marshal's team uses this controlled environment to learn techniques they will later use to investigate real fires.
We just want to carry that out just like that.
Oh yeah, because there's the edges.
Let's pick up the couch and put it out.
They're working their way around methodically, piece by piece.
Investigations Chief Tim Spradlin takes us inside the charred remains of what was a kitchen.
Just this simple little pattern right here on this one piece. The difference here, and then this is the kind of thing we want to pick up and look at the bottom. And it's clean, so it was in that position during the fire.
Piece by piece, investigators try to find out what started this fire and why.
Each one has to be documented.
When they move this skillet, they're going to look at it from all sides, upside down and backwards. They're going to look underneath. It appears it was on the stove at the time of the fire. It wasn't moved here.
Where's that? Show me.
With the help of canines and top-notch technology, Chief Spradlin trains investigators to dig deeper.
Here's the bottom screw.
He says it's important knowing there's a rise in arson to cover crimes.
My laptop.
Get pictures of that.
Anything could be a key piece of evidence. For example, this melted bottle. It contains a liquid and has a label, but that's not necessarily what's inside. And that's why it's important to take evidence like this to the State Fire Marshal's lab for testing. And once it arrives, scientists can analyze the contents and try to determine its role in the fire.
There's some rich detail in here. Time and time again, we find evidence, we find latent prints from crime scenes. We can identify the ignitable liquids, even from things that are completely charred.
For the first time, 10 TV cameras are allowed inside this lab.
It's an alternate light source. It's a different wavelength of light. Those are the friction ridges from the latent prints.
To show how all of this high-tech equipment works.
These peaks are individual chemicals. The hard part of the job is finding those patterns.
It could take more than a week to process the samples, but Chief Chad Wissinger says it's worth the wait to make a match.
Things like DNA and latent fingerprints are ultimately what juries are looking for to tie a suspect to a scene.
According to the FBI, less than 10% of all arsons across the country result in an arrest. But here in Ohio, the State Fire Marshal's lab comes in at a rate of 25%. They credit the success to increasingly sensitive equipment and a new forensic video system.
You can try to make it look accidental, but the fire won't lie, people do, and eventually we'll figure that out.
And because fire officials don't expect arsons to stop anytime soon,
Can you get that?
their quest to capture criminals
So our movement's coming this way and not from this up.
continues. For Crime Tracker 10, Danielle Elias, 10 TV News.
From the pictures of it, it doesn't look like it was burned.